and welcome to another midnight showing. As always, I'm Kelly, and I just got out of Terminator Genisys. Oh boy. You know, with the string of movies lately that are all trying to reboot and re-energize franchises, you have to think that this was inevitable, but they could have done a hell of a lot better job with it. I mean, good lord, nothing in this movie makes sense if you give it even an inch of thought. And I've heard people say, "Oh, you just gotta turn off your brain." No, this isn't like Gurren Lagann. This isn't like Mad Max Fury Road, where you can just turn off your brain and enjoy the ginormous spectacle that is the action. Because the action in this movie sucks. It's barely competent, and if you've seen any of the trailers, you know this entire movie. You had this entire movie spoiled to you if you've seen that goddamn new trailer that just... And I actually rewatched it just to double check. Every single significant action scene is inside of that trailer. Every single plot twist is in that trailer. It literally spoils the entire movie to you. So if you want to go into this movie with any kind of semblance of surprise and awe, don't watch any of these trailers. None of them. Oh god. For those who don't want spoilers, to sum up, the action was serviceable. The acting, although Arnold Schwarzenegger was really good, and I did end up liking Emilia Clarke as Sarah Connor, I didn't like anybody else. I didn't like Emilia's older brother, I have to assume, because they both have the same exact last name. I can't think of his first name at the moment. But I did not like him as John Connor. I didn't. It wasn't right. John Connor, if you're going off of just the first two movies like this movie claims to be, he should be very silent. And he talks way too much in this movie, and it just comes off as whiny crazy. That's all. It's not even that good. Jai Courtney as Kyle Reese. I'm sorry. I said it in my Insurgent review. I don't like the guy. There's been no roles that he's played that I can honestly say, he was good in that. No, he delivers lines two ways. Either the, "I'm so angry and talking, what the hell's going on here?" or the, "Durr, I don't know what to say" face. And it's just, I don't like him. I don't. So, with the exception of two of them, the acting is really subpar. J.K. Simmons especially is wasted in this film, with a bit part that adds absolutely nothing to anything. In fact, you think that it's going to go somewhere, but it doesn't. He does nothing in this film that they couldn't have done on their own. Nothing. Fucking nothing. You were in Whiplash, man. Please, just stop. But yeah, overall summation, there's nothing memorable about this film. Everything that you think is going to happen, even if you haven't seen the trailers, everything you think is going to happen, happens. In the exact same way you think it's going to happen. There's no surprises, and frankly speaking, the only good part about it is seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger again. And the CGI on the T-800s is actually pretty damn good. The older Arnold, the younger Arnold look, versus, say, Terminator Salvation, that really, yeah, that looked bad. But the old Arnolds actually kind of look good. I don't want to say that their endoskeletons, the actual robot Terminator forms look any good, and the T-1000s look like shit. I'm just going to say it. They really do. But old Arnold actually looks, young Arnold looks really, really good. The old Arnold, yeah, I'm just going to say it. He was great in this film. He really was. He's just enjoyable to watch. He excels at playing stupid roles, and that's what this is. It's the stupid role that made him a star. So, yeah. Final verdict for those who don't want any other kind of comments is, this is an honest-to-God, wait till Redbox. It's not worth a ticket price. I got a free ticket to this, as well as D-box seat, and I still think that I didn't get my money's worth. It really is just a skippable thing. Wait till it comes to Redbox. Wait till Netflix. If just see it for the sake of saying that you saw it, but don't waste money to go see it in the theater. It's not worth it. It just, yeah, it just was completely a train wreck. Going into the spoilers, let's start talking about some of the things that don't make sense in this film. Okay, actually, first, something I haven't done for a while, let's talk about the good aspects. As I said, Arnold Schwarzenegger excels inside of this, playing playing just another stupid role where he's dropping very, very subtle one-liners. They really want you to know that he is a Terminator again inside of this. Inside of the first movie, he had 19 lines, I think is what the final count was, in the original Terminator. Inside of the second Terminator, although he had a lot more lines, you could definitely see a robot trying to learn how to be human. And that led to some pretty cool moments, as well as some of the more iconic ones, like "Hasta la vista, baby," and just everything else. It's just, yeah. Inside of this film, they go kind of like the middle ground between the first two Terminators with him, as he is definitely a robot. He's always talking about what's tactically good, and how he had to raise Sarah Connor because a Terminator was sent to her house in 1973 to kill her beforehand, but she ended up surviving, so they ended up having to still send one in 1984, but then they also sent a T-1000 back in time to kill Kyle Reese, and yeah, we're going into the stuff that doesn't make any sense, so we'll save that for a second. But Arnold Schwarzenegger is just entertaining as hell to watch inside of this. He is the part that you look forward to, because frankly speaking, his subtle one-liners and they time travel inside of this movie to the future, and the person who has to time travel is the people that time travel are Jai Courtney and Emily Clark, Sarah Connor, and Kyle Reese. They have to jump from 1984 to 2017 to try to stop Skynet before it comes online, which doesn't make any sense. Why not just jump to, say, I don't know, 2015 and blow up Cyberdyne again? It makes more sense. But again, one of the things that don't make sense. They end up jumping there, and Arnold Schwarzenegger says he's just going to take the long way around because, well, his entire arm is cut off again. The skin on his arm is gone again, so he can't survive the time travel machine. Okay, fair enough. Later in the movie, when he finally gets up to them, he said that he was going to meet them there because he knew exactly where they were, and he didn't get there in time. When they finally meet up, it's like, yeah, where the hell were you? I was stuck in traffic. And it's just little subtle things like that. They don't try to make it a big, this is a funny line moment. It actually sounds more like an old, gruff guy who got stuck in traffic because he's learning how to blend in. And it's kind of interesting to watch, just to see him, kind of this middle ground between I'm the emotional guy who's raising John Connor in Terminator 2, and you have the complete robot assassin guy from Terminator 1, have them like meet up in the middle. It is kind of fascinating, and that is one of the better aspects of the film. So Arnold Schwarzenegger is great. Emily Clark as Sarah Connor. Again, I thought that she did a great job, and she definitely carries the realm of female badass Sarah Connor. When she's first introduced, she comes off as whiny. Really, really fucking whiny. But, to be fair, as the story progressed, you learn more about her character, what she had to go through. As I said, they sent Terminators back to her in 1973 and blah, blah, blah. And she barely survived that, if not for the fact that the other Arnold had shown up to help her. And, yeah, she actually explains it, and you don't really feel, her whiny stuff still comes off as whiny, but it definitely lessens as the film goes on. It's only when she first meets Kyle Reese that you're just like, oh my god, this is horrible. And then afterwards, after she starts talking with him, him and trying to balance out, because Kyle Reese hates the Terminator. Obviously, he just came from a post-apocalyptic world where these things try to kill him on a regular basis, and it's understandable. But he doesn't. He hates it, and he's always trying to pick fights with him and whatnot. It's just as she's like trying playing the middleman in all of this, her whiny comes more. I don't want to say justified. I want to say more of, all right, I'm done taking this shit, and that's all it is. That's all it really is. She is like, again, middle ground between Sarah Connor from the first Terminator and the middle ground of the one from the second Terminator. You have the full awesome, badass, almost crazily homicidal one, and you have the completely innocent waitress from the first one. You got the middle ground here where she's definitely trained, but she's still going through those, I don't want to say rebellious teenage years, because she's actually supposed to be like 20-something inside of this, but it's kind of like that. She's still coming out of her own. She doesn't know who she is. Is she this badass, awesome soldier, or she is this emotionally distraught kid who saw her entire family murdered before her eyes? It really is just as convoluted. But Amelia Clark. It starts with an E, not an A, so it's not like Amy from Doctor Who, but it's Amelia Clark. I'm trying to say that perfectly right, but yeah, she was perfectly fine. She excelled at the role, and I can honestly say that she was it. What other good things were there? A couple of the callbacks they did to the other films were pretty decent, but yeah, other than those two, I don't think there was anything else that was really good about this film. Everything else was just competent or crap. And yeah, so let's go into some of that crap. The plot holes that don't make sense in this film are just so numerous, and each one, I could drive a tanker truck filled with freaking nitrogen and through each of them and just crash it into a T-1000. It's just so... Okay, so the only two films in canon with this one are Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, which is the only reason why I'm referencing those two. They make it quite clear that they have nothing to do with Terminator 3 and Terminator Salvation. In fact, Terminator 3, when you saw Judgment Day happen in 2004, that's not true. Judgment Day happened in 1997, according to Jai Courtney and John Connor from the future. When honestly, that was another thing they did. When they opened up inside of the future and they had the little battle sequence there, that was actually pretty good. It was decent. It was serviceable. It had way too much CGI, and you can definitely tell when they were trying to rip off things like Tron and whatnot. But I can honestly say that it was very, very, very well shot and pretty nice. Now, here's the problem with it. Is that right after this moment, they start going into... He has to go back... They have to send Kyle Reese back in time to save Sarah Connor from the Terminator, who just got sent back in time while they were busy dealing with this place's defenses. And John Connor explains everything to his men and sends Kyle Reese back in time. It's just... Now, you ever wonder why in the first movie, the original Terminator from 1984, that Kyle Reese came in falling on his head, versus Terminator who came in on one knee, super awesome? Oh, they actually do explain that inside of this movie. Inside of this movie, when he's going through the whole time travel process, John Connor gets attacked from behind by Matt Smith. That's a plot hole, and that's a major disappointment in and of itself that I am going to talk about in this entire separate section. But yeah, he gets attacked, and instead of doing his little thing, he goes like that right as he time travels, which causes him to go spinning all over the place. so that when he finally lands in 1984, okay, fair enough. That's kind of cool. That makes sense, right? Only in the context of this film, though. For every plot hole it tried to fix inside the original two movies, every time they tried to explain something that happened or anything like that, they create two more. Okay, let's assume that this is true, and this is supposed to be in canon with the original film. Kyle Reese saw John Connor get attacked inside of the original 1984 film. And he doesn't mention this once? He doesn't seem to be distraught about it once? I'm sorry. This is the moment when you're just like, okay, that makes no sense whatsoever. And it's just one of those plot holes that you can't ignore. You got about 20 more, which they never address one of the bigger ones, in my opinion, which is only organic material can be sent back in time. In fact, or forward in time, but they make that as a plot point when Arnold Schwarzenegger basically sacrifices his time travel ticket to Jai Courtney and Amelia Clark, because in order to kill the T-1000 that showed up in 1984, which wasn't supposed to be there, he had to grab it and throw it under the acid and hold it there. Which, if the acid was melting the T-1000, wouldn't that have melted his robotic arm too? But whatever. How did the T-1000 get sent back in time in any of these movies? It's liquid metal. It's not organic material. It's metal that's been melted that has a polycarbonate alloy that melts it, make it malleable. That's it. It doesn't make any sense as to how you could send these things back in time. At all. And as I said, their CGI looks horrible. It's really sad that in 1992, when Terminator 2 came out, I'm pretty sure it was 2, it might have been 1991, but it's really bad that Judgment Day, that was 24 years ago, looks better CGI-wise than 2015. These T-1000s look horrible. They try to give them this big old glossy finish, which with the rest of the CGI in the film doesn't mesh at all. It doesn't even look stylized. And it's just no. Just no. They try to be a little bit more realistic with it, which I kind of appreciate. When Kyle Reese is actually shooting the T-1000, he gives it a couple of headshots, and you actually see chunks or little explosions of the metal behind him splatter against the wall, which would make sense if these bullets really can do what they're shown doing to him. If they're really putting big old holes inside of him, if they're doing all that, doing the little ripple thing on his chest, it makes more sense that there'd be some coming out the backside or pieces would be ripping off. And it kind of is cool that they I'm trying to think of how to say this. They utilize that a lot better. Is they show him using little droplets of himself to do certain things, like track the car that all of them got away in inside of the movie. You've seen it in the trailer when they literally when Sarah Connor comes bursting through the convenience store and get in this car, soldier! Now! You saw that part. Well, the T-1000 manages to get pretty close to it and rip off one of its doors, but they ended up shooting him off. But a piece of him got stuck on the car, and it literally took the place of one of the bolts off of the ripped off door. And the T-1000 is able to track them through said piece on there. He's actually utilizing the fact that he can be split into pieces. And they did do one little thing that I thought was kind of cool. They the T-1000 hid on a mirror. I guess it's kind of just a callback to him hiding on the floor inside of T2 Judgment Day. But it's just it was the one time the CGI actually looked competent, and I actually got to see it in 3D along with my D-Box, and yeah, it was a cool effect. The rest of the movie, the C-1000 looks like shit, though. He really does, especially when they kill it, which is probably just dumb. I'm trying to think of a... You didn't have a steel mill to melt him this time, so they just got a bunch of... They led him to a room with a bunch of milk cartons filled with acid. Milk cartons filled with acid. Milk cartons. Acids that can tear through metal. Liquid metal, even. And you're keeping them in milk cartons. Yeah, I called bullshit on that in the theater. Hopefully I wasn't too loud. The people inside there looked like they were enjoying themselves. But, yeah. So, they're going into some more plot holes that just don't add up or make sense. Let's talk about John Connor. Now, if you've seen the trailer that I told you, that if you want to be any form of surprised not to watch, you already know what I'm about to say. John Connor is turned into a Terminator. And not just any Terminator, he's turned into a fucking replicator. It's not even subtle that they're trying to rip off the replicators from Stargate. Or the microbots from Big Hero 6, as the pieces of him tend to move like those damn microbots. And it's just... So what happened in the future? Skynet downloaded himself into a body, probably made up of these nanite things that he ends up turning John Connor into. And when he attacks him inside of the opening segment where causes Kyle Reese to spin, like I said, they did a cutback that shows John Connor like being turned into the machine slowly and painfully and blah 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 blah. He did that because apparently Skynet knew that it was going to die and lose, so it came up with a backup plan to keep up appearances, which involved John Connor turning into a Terminator, assuming that he would survive this process. Nobody else has survived. They make that a plot point that everyone else went crazy and died, but he survived. He gets sent back in time to 2014, where he goes to work for Cyberdyne and makes the company and starts making modern-day Terminators, and even starts building his own time machine there, as well as Skynet, and trying to upload him to the internet, well, not just the internet, but to every single electronic device using an operating system app called Genisys. Spelt with a Y because poor literacy is cool. But it doesn't make sense, because why would you need that? Why not just upload yourself to the internet? Then you can upload yourself to anything with a wireless communication that runs wirelessly, minus radios. And frankly speaking, this is exactly what they did inside of Terminator 3, isn't it? They tried to destroy the servers before he gets uploaded. Yeah, that's exactly what they did inside of Terminator 3, and we still call that movie crap. Why not this one? So, yeah, it doesn't make any sense that it would take not only 3 years to do this, but that you'd need an app put on every phone, every computer, every operating system to upload Skynet to. Wouldn't it make more sense just to upload them to the internet? And then from there he can just act like a virus, infecting all the other computers. It's not like they can do anything against him. It's AI. And traditional forms of science fiction hacking things prove that AI can't be hacked. So, whatever. But, yeah, he's a walking plot hole. He ends up showing up right as they do inside of 2017. How the hell did he even know where they were? How the hell did he get there that fast? How the hell... Again, just so many goddamn plot holes that are just convenient for this thing that it doesn't make any sense when you try to put any measure or degree of thought into it. With probably the biggest plot hole that they're just saving for the next sequel, because yes, there is a post-credit scene where they didn't actually destroy Skynet, and he has his own computer mainframe protecting him, blah blah blah. But who cares about that shit? The biggest plot hole, who the flying fuck sent Arnold Schwarzenegger back in time to protect Sarah Connor? They tried talking to him and asking him that question, and he said, "The files have been deleted from my memory banks. Not even I know who sent me." What kind of fucking sense does that make? It's a paradox. Okay? It is a paradox. And honestly, all that either Kyle Reese or Sarah Connor have to do to stop all of this and fix everything is kill one of themselves. Really, that's it. Or promise not to fuck each other. Because John Connor can't exist without them. Oh, but if he doesn't exist, then Skynet wins. No, you're in the past. In the future, that might be right. But in the past, where you are right now, blowing up Cyberdyne and destroying the servers and whatnot, yeah, you win. That's all you had to do. Blow up those, you win. You may not have a son, but you win. Everything's solved, hunky-dory. But then that creates the plot holes and paradoxes with Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator, but they already exist regardless, so why not? Now, I'm not one of those ones that say plot holes can outright destroy movies. But if I notice your plot holes upon first viewing, you done fucked up. Look, every movie has plot holes. Hell, there's an entire channel called Cinema Sins devoted to nothing but telling you, oh, every movie has plot holes. Things that don't make sense. Character arcs that are just stupid. Random jokes. Scenes that deserve a lap dance. You know what? They make an entire career out of doing that. But if we notice your plot holes first time round, no, this sucks. It doesn't make any sense. And overall, this movie is just disappointing. Everything. I could just sit here and bitch about just things that don't make sense. How bad the CGI looks. The fact that John Connor, Replicator Man, everything he does in the film, the T-1000 either did in this film or did inside of Terminator 2. And better, frankly. The only time that he ever did anything that was unique as far as his own action sequence is he punched Arnold and then broke off a section of the replicator things to punch him again and again and again and again, and each one reforming into the main body on the other side. It's 5 punches, and he's all of a sudden behind him, grabs him, and throws him around. And you already know how they were going to kill him. They basically told you how they were going to do it. The not working time machine that they're working on, yeah, the only thing that would work inside there is basically its ability to destroy all mechanical objects, all non-living tissue. To which, if he is a replicator on a cellular level, how the hell did John Connor get sent back in time? Yeah. Think about that one for a second. Did they just, I don't know, cut off all the skin off of one of the Arnold bots and put it on top of him and then go, and then all of a sudden he just broke out when he's on the other side? Pretty graphic, but yeah, it's pretty stupid at the same time. The plot hole doesn't make... These plot holes don't make sense. They just drive into the fact that I can't turn off my brain to enjoy this movie. Something like Mad Max, I can turn off my brain to enjoy because it's one big action sequence with a very, very simple premise. They're running from the bad guys. That is the point of Mad Max. This movie, they're trying to blow up Cyberdyne by doing all this stuff involving time paradoxes, time travel, robots, cyborgs, replicators, and, you know what, a puppy. Because I'm just going to throw in a puppy because it makes it so much better if there's a puppy inside of it. It just doesn't... Nothing about this makes sense. And one of the biggest missteps, I think, in my opinion, was the fact that Matt Smith is supposed to be inside this movie. For those who don't know who Matt Smith is, he was the 11th Doctor, or 12th if you're like Steve Moffat and don't know how to write. But that's an argument for another day. Matt Smith is actually the human form, or replicator form, I guess, of Skynet. And he's in 3 scenes of this movie. No, I actually counted. He's only in 3 scenes. The scene where he initially attacks, a flashback to that scene showing aftermath and him explaining a couple of things. He has less lines of dialogue than Arnold Schwarzenegger did Terminator inside the first Terminator movie. And then he shows up again as a hologram of Skynet when they're trying to blow it up. And again, 3 scenes. He's the primary antagonist of this film. Not John Connor. John Connor is his lackey, his henchman, his floozy, his gopher boy. Matt Smith is Skynet. And he's in 3 scenes in this movie. So let me get this straight. You get the very, very experienced actor, Matt Smith, who has done a ton of work for the British Drama Network, not just Doctor Who. He's done a lot of stage stuff over there as well, and he's pretty excelled. Then you get this nobody named Clark that I've maybe seen in one other role to play John Connor, his lackey, and you give more screen time to him? Why not make Skynet the one controlling him? Why not make it so that Skynet was actually the replicator the entire time, and he just needed to touch John Connor to take his form, so that when he took himself back in time to ensure his own existence, yes, it's a paradox, but you know what? All of these movies have paradoxes, and let's face it, life has paradoxes, so we can forgive a couple of them. But why not have him go back in time, and he only tries to infiltrate and be buddy-buddy with all of them, so that they can so he can try to stop them from destroying him. Why not? Because logic? People think that you need to be crowded? You think that you just need to throw in more characters and names for the sake of having names? Brings me back to the J.K. Simmons thing. His part was completely pointless. He's playing an older version of a cop who was there in 1984 when the T-1000 was attacking Kyle Reese, and Sarah Connor saved him. His partner ended up dying, but he ended up living. 30 years later, inside of 2017, he realizes that they're all time travelers and blah, blah, blah. He's going crazy, he's drunk. And you think that right about then he's going to join the team and, help save everything. No, he's just there in the background for about 5 more scenes. And then finally, when they all get locked up, and after the stupid bus thing that you saw in the trailer, again, trailers that ruin every significant action portion of this movie, after they get all locked up and they start to break out, okay, now he's going to join the team and help, right? No. He leads them to the evidence storage room where they have all their weapons and bombs locked and whatnot. Then leads them to the helicopter pad and runs away. At Arnold Schwarzenegger's request, he runs away. Why not take him with you? He's obviously invested in this. He believes you. He knows the general idea of what the fuck is going on. He can help. He's a cop with 30 years experience under his belt. He's probably got more experience than Sarah Connor does at this point. Let him help, especially when they said that they have to put the explosives in 5 different places, but they only show them putting in 3. Yeah, another minor plot hole, but again, let him help. No. He's there. He just runs away after doing everything they could have done by themselves. It's really that simple, that easy. But you know what? Whatever. I'm done with this movie. Okay, I can't say anymore. I can't sit here and bitch anymore. You want the final verdict? As I said, it's worth watching to say that you watched it. Maybe when it comes out on Redbox or it's on Netflix, but it is nowhere near worth of a freaking ticket price. It's not. You know, if you another movie did the similar thing to this just recently, Jurassic World, which the video should be out about the same time as this one if it's not already out. I'll put a link in the description below to it. But it did something similar. It was written with no logic whatsoever, no sense of reason, plot holes everywhere. But you know what Jurassic World had over fucking Terminator Genisys? A climax so awesome, so brilliant, and so breathtaking that alone is worth the price of admission. Terminator has none of that. And it is by far one of the biggest disappointments of the year so far. And yeah, it gets an honest wait for Redbox, wait for fucking Netflix. If not an overall skip it. It just wasn't worth it for the very, very few things it did okay. The mountain of shit it puts out, it's just not worth it. So, yeah, that's it for me. Did you enjoy the video? Have you seen Terminator Genisys? Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below, and maybe we'll get some healthy discussion going. And if you liked the video, share it with your friends, and maybe click the subscribe button up there to check out some more of my videos. Trust me, it does help me. If you want to see some of my other recent videos, I will have them posted right down here. And I will see you all next time.